Maybe in 15 years, 20 years, maybe my number is up there next to Kareem.
The long wait has ended after a half-century. The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
It takes more than skills to be great. That's what people don't understand. You can be the most skillful person on earth, still don't make the NBA. The NBA is not about skills. When you think about LeBron, you think about consistency. He's been great for 20 years. Think about MJ. Edge, about getting better, obsession. Kobe, obsession. Steph. Man, it's not just skills. The thing that makes me a step further than people is the obsession and the discipline I have towards the game.
Well, I think the biggest question heading into today's trade deadline was what happens with Giannis? He posted, he waxed poetic, no pencil, but I'm still drawing all the attention here. And Brian, we now have our answer as we are 12 minutes away from the NBA trade deadline, less, and the Bucks have made it clear Giannis will remain on this roster through the deadline into the summer in the hopes that they can still build a contender.
Yeah, so Shams was saying earlier that, after they decided they were going to not trade Giannis, they went to look to see if they could improve the roster between now and 3, and they haven't been able to do that, which I get because they don't have really draft picks to trade and they don't have expiring salary to trade. And so now, where do you go from here? You have a team that when Giannis doesn't play is frankly one of the worst teams in the league, and when he does play is 500. And what you really need is your draft pick to improve. So I don't know how you're going to negotiate this with Giannis, but if you've made the decision not to trade for him and your reasoning is that you think you can get good enough through the offseason to get better, the only way forward is to tank the rest of the season, and you can't take when Giannis plays. When Giannis doesn't play, tanking happens easily. When he does play, you're 500. This is going to be elementary.
Wendy, I have a question on that. Has Giannis told them that if you don't move me now at the deadline, I want to be moved this summer?
I don't think he's been clear about anything, which is part of the problem and why we're in this stalemate situation.
But how did we get to this point? When I say this point, meaning how did they even start, accepting calls on him? He had to say something. He had to open the door some kind of way.
Well, if he opened the door, they opened. The one thing is, if you're a franchise owner or you're a president of a team, at the end of the day, you can complain all day, coach. I don't want to be coaching this team, but if I want you to coach this team, you're going to go honor this contract until I'm ready to do it. And so at the end of the day, the Milwaukee Bucks still will have to make the decision.
That is true until this summer, right? Because Giannis has the ultimate quiet all the answers card. The ultimate, I want to stay in Milwaukee. The ultimate, I'm going to shut down all of this speculation conversation and put 10 toes down on exactly what I've been hinting and saying and telling The Athletic and telling the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and that is signing a contract extension, because he becomes an expiring contract. And are the Milwaukee Bucks going to say bok bok?
No, that's still your card. You're like, he's an expiring contract that won't sign a remaining an extension. So now that's why I'm going to trade you. But if you sign this extension, I'm going to keep you. So it's a simple thing. You could balk all you want. And this is not a dating relationship. It's not like, oh, you get to leave. Right. No, you got to come to work. And when Giannis comes to work, he is going to perform.
Or he can be deactivated.
And that's crazy. To be honest, if I was any one of those other guys on the roster, I can't wait for this season to be over with. People don't realize how hard it is to be in a situation like this. Like, you want to walk into a work environment where you're somewhat happy. Right?
I'm happy every day I walk into work.
Feelings are mutual, but this is what I'm saying. Every single day that they're going into that practice facility, that game arena, it is a dark cloud over that organization. They're miserable. Sometimes some of them guys probably walk in, put their fingerprints in the thing, and hope it don't work. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Like, people don't understand the stress level.
Well, people at home, when he says fingerprints, he means to get into an NBA locker room, it's actually fingerprint activated.
Yeah, sometimes it's key card, sometimes fingerprints, sometimes
for clarity, so everyone else
Brian,
understands
can you
what you're talking
explain, though, the crossroad? Because the Milwaukee Bucks, if this wasn't the crossroads, right, which we all sort of felt like, okay, this was the first, they are going to come to a hard and fast stop sign in the summer. What is that?
Yeah, so this fall, but he can let anybody know at any time. He can say today, this fall, he has
Any
the option.
naysayers?
He has the option to extend his contract 4 years, $270 million. And for a player in his 30s with some history of recent injury, $270 million is nothing to laugh at. Like, that is a reasonable thing.
I'm not laughing.
It's not even without injuries.
I'm not laughing.
So that's that's a thing. And really this comes down to, are you signing it or not? If you're signing it, then let's go, buddy. Like, start laying the foundation for the statue. We're never trading you. Let's go. If you don't sign it, they have to trade him. It's just elementary. It's really not that complicated. It's just elementary. But Giannis won't give that simple clarity. He hasn't done it, and so that has allowed the Bucks to do what's best for them. And what's best for them is to make this decision in the summer. The trade options are better in the summer.
But hold on, first, deactivate Giannis.
Well, Giannis is hurt. He is hurt right now. He is on the injury list. And I'm telling you, I know that Giannis said he was out 4 to 6 weeks. Doc Rivers said no timeline.
Was also said that he's progressing.
Good for him.
Well,
I hope he feels great.
all of that smoke, all of that, some fires that have popped up earlier this week, it's all settling down into this. We're 1 minute away from the 2026 NBA trade deadline.
Thank God.
It's been a little bit of a funky deadline here, but what seems very, very clear is unless there's some haymaker that's thrown in the next 45 seconds.
Sometimes they come in after.
Sometimes they do. That Ja Morant is going to remain with the Memphis Grizzlies, that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to remain with the Milwaukee Bucks. That feels, Kenny, like where we're settling into.
Yeah, it is surprising in Memphis because if Jaren Jackson was able to be moved, that the writing is that this team is in a full rebuild, because as good as Ja Morant has been and will be, pairing him with Jaren Jackson was part of the success. So now you get rid of the success, you think the other domino would be him. And if it's not now, there would be a time that happened. I'm not sure, because they didn't bring an asset in to say, hey, this actually pairs with Ja to maybe have us be a contender.
And they traded Bain last year, got a bunch of picks. They traded Jackson for a bunch of picks.
Coach.
So naturally, Morant's the next guy to get more young
Coach, did you
picks.
feel that? Did you feel that?
It's over?
We just crossed the NBA trade deadline. You're first over on this side. How's it feel?
I made it.
Wait, just then.
Just
then. Coach is traded to CNN.
I'm out.
Coach has made it through his first NBA trade deadline. And what a strange trade deadline that was. Should we talk about the moves that actually did happen?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Because the Cavaliers, they made maybe the biggest splash that we saw. They acquired a top 10 all-time scorer in James Harden. So, Coach, Donovan Mitchell said that this gives the Cavs a higher ceiling. How do you feel about their chances to break through?
Oh, I couldn't agree more with Donovan Mitchell. He's got to be excited beyond all hell to add a guy like Big James, a guy that's been there and done that. All the fans in Cleveland are really excited about this acquisition. Well,
in exchange, the Los Angeles Clippers, they got back a two-time All-Star in Darius Garland. We know they also moved on from Ivica Zubac, but Kawhi Leonard still with the Clippers. So how do you read their side of these tea leaves, Brian?
Well, they just made quite a turnaround in 3 days here because they just got younger. They got Ben Mathurin, they got Darius Garland, and after really not having any draft picks going forward, they picked up 2 picks, including a pick that could be in the high lottery of this year's draft. They did one of the most inventive trades. We'll get to it later. They just did one of the most inventive trades we've ever seen on draft day for a lottery pick in that Zubac deal. They have turned over their future with the last couple deals.
Another future Hall of Famer moved on Wednesday. Anthony Davis off to join Trae Young in D.C. So, Kenny, this seems like it was a move for the future, but do you agree with Janae that they're out of their sort of swill, their sunken place?
Well, I have friends in the Washington, D.C. area that have never been to a basketball game. They will now at least go to a tent to see an NBA basketball game with two marquee players and see if they can compete in an actual regular season game.
All right. Well, the Washington Wizards are looking up, even if it is a future deferred. And that brings us, of course, to Golden State. Kendrick Perkins, Jonathan Kuminga. We've said his name so many times over the last couple of months. We will now be saying it as a member of the Hawks. Kristaps Porzingis comes back to the Bay in return. Do you think that this is a piece for Steph to compete this year, at least in the play-in?
Hell no.
Pajamas.
Pajamas. But now, I mean, look, I'm glad that Kuminga is finally gone, so we don't have to talk about that situation anymore. Before as Porzingis moving the needle, I just don't see it. He hasn't really played since he won the championship with the Celtics. I don't think Steph is just too thrilled about this move.
All right.
Draymond is, though, because he ain't got to worry about being.
Yeah, Draymond Green still on the Golden State Warriors past the trade deadline. I feel like we all just need to take one big, like, the trade deadline came and went.
I wasn't under pressure. I don't have to take.
Not so much pressure, Kenny.
There was no pressure.
Did you feel it was a weird trade deadline?
No, honestly, because the things that were happening were building up for months.
Yeah.
It was like boiling water. It wasn't like we just put our finger in it and it was hot. It was like, no, this is boiling and starting to see.
Yeah.
You see these last year. You see these trends happening. And then the other players, other than Giannis, the bigger name players, other than Morant, a lot of those guys are happy because they're now getting a chance to go to contenders or teams that they can make a big impact in.
Yeah.
So we said his name earlier because he's a New Yorker. A guy like Jose Alvarado, his excitement to go to New York, that to me is exciting.
Right.
Because here he was in New Orleans, where he doesn't have an opportunity.
Excellent food.
No, we watch you a little bit. We're noticing what you do.
Yeah.
But when you're in the mecca of basketball now, and you're trying to contend for a championship, your 8 points matter. Your 10 points matter. So now I'm happy for guys. So instead of being relieved, I think that some teams are really saying we're trying to go for it.
We're in different times right now. Like, franchise players are not franchise players anymore, if that makes sense. I mean,
What do you mean by that?
Because think about over the last 2 seasons what we've witnessed as far as guys being moved. Like, yeah, we was all ready to see if Giannis and Ja was going to get moved, but over the past 2 years, we didn't have Luka get traded, Anthony Davis
Twice.
Trae Young. Like, we're seeing KD. Like, we're in different times now. Where it's like the franchise guys, when I came in the league in 2003, you knew that those guys were going to be the untouchable. It's
Even
not like
hearing
that.
about Draymond.
Yeah, the only one who was sitting in the locker room worried about being traded was Perk and myself. Akeem Olajuwon was sitting with a cup of coffee and a donut.
He said, "I'm
on
good."
trade
Kenny
deadline.
says it's not. It was the boiling. We're now going to be simmering till summer because there's a lot of unfinished business that didn't get done. You go around the league. Everybody on the Heat knows that they were potentially offered in deals. What happens if they have an early exit? A bunch of people in Minnesota know they were offered in deals. What happens if they have an early exit? Obviously, the Cavs have gone all in and shown their willingness to break up their core. What happens if they have an early exit? You will see a revisiting of the Giannis situation in the summer. We know that the Clippers are now in the middle of a controlled teardown. I don't want to use the word rebuild, whatever, they're doing that.
James Harden used it.
What about Kawhi Leonard? Well, and then you look at Domantas Sabonis. He was floated. They couldn't do a deal for him. Now, none of that mentions Ja Morant. So what if the Knicks decided to keep their team together and not go after Giannis? What happens if they don't reach the finals
Right.
and do this? So in all honesty, I think while we did not have a super aggressive trade deadline, I think what's happened is we've laid the foundation for a wild summer.
Team up in Toronto. You've been high on them all year long. Right now, 6 in the East. Are you surprised? I know they got Trace Jackson Davis as a big, but Jakob Poeltl being out with a back injury. But were you surprised they didn't add anything, as most teams in the East made moves that are above them to try to make a move to an Eastern Conference final?
I am surprised. I thought that they were going to be the team that was actually going to try to go pursue and go get Anthony Davis, to be honest with you. I think that they're still missing that guy. Like, I'm not disrespecting Scotty Barnes. I just don't. He's one of my favorites. He's not an offensive threat that's going to get you to the promised land. Brandon Ingram is a second option offensive threat that could help a Batman.
You want to know why they didn't get him?
Why?
Because Dallas only wanted expiring salary. Now, that's where Anthony Davis was. They just wanted to get off of the money and a couple of picks. The Raptors had the picks, but they didn't have a way to get off the money.
It seems like the theme of this trade deadline was deadline deferred. It seems like we're going to be having a lot of these same conversations as we march towards the summer. And it was also a little bit strange because the best players, save for maybe James Harden, that were moved at this deadline, Jaren Jackson Jr., Ivica Zubac, Anthony Davis, those are all not necessarily moves for this year. They're all moves for next year.
But I have a question for Coach. Because we all hear what players go through during the trade deadline. When you're on the coaching staff, are you in the general manager meetings and you know what was going on, and then you go back and you coaching a guy that you know that you actually possibly lobbied for to get traded? Like, as those things happen?
Oh, of course. And
wow.
Depending upon the GM,
just kidding.
depending upon the GM, I was in the meetings. Right. Other guys, maybe I wasn't in the meeting. You can read into that what you want.
I know, but listen, I don't read, but I hear you.
Yeah. The type is pretty big.
But I tell you what, it's hard because you have these meetings with the front office. We're always trying to get better. I think you owe it to yourself to find ways to get better. But you also have relationships with your players.
Right.
And you care about these guys. And so, very awkward. One time we were in a shoot-around in Orlando. And I went into shoot-around with the message being, we're not making any moves. And we're in the middle of shoot-around, walk through, it's quiet, and all of a sudden, everybody's phone starts going, bzz, 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 and they're all looking around. Coach comes over, whispers in my ear, hey, we just traded so-and-so. So now you got to stop shoot-around and say, hey, because that's what people think trade deadline's like a moratorium.
Yeah.
There are practices today. There are games today.
Yeah.
There are flights. So you have those awkward encounters, but the only way you can address it is to be honest and deal with it.
How about Zubac? Ivica Zubac and his wife had a baby 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You just got traded to Indiana.
And people don't realize the effect that have like as fans, we have fun because we want to see it's entertaining and guys going to different organizations. But as a person that was traded, like especially as a young player from Boston, no one could have ever told me that I wasn't going to retire as a Celtic. I didn't even know I was getting traded. Right? I woke up.
I would have told you that.
No, you would have told me that. Man, you know what? It took and guess what? That was
I'd be like,
the worst.
Man, illusion of grandeur.
Hey, the problem was the worst decision they ever made because Paul Pierce and KG never got back to the final.
Okay,
but
say less.
Here's another thing, though. This is what I'm looking at for as this trade deadline. They have a lot of teams that are on the clock. The Cavs, the Knicks. I wouldn't say the Pistons because they still young.
Yeah, they got some time.
Minnesota, like a lot of these, Denver, a lot of teams are on the clock. And with their franchise, quote-unquote franchise guys, I'm looking at Orlando down there as well with Paolo Banchero. He hasn't really took that leap like we thought he was going to take this year. Right? They wasn't really aggressive with, like, far as making moves. Yeah, they got Desmond Bain in the offseason, but they didn't really do too much this trade deadline. So, again, it's a lot of teams that are on the clock to make some noise at the second part and in the postseason.
Yeah.